Obviously, your decision has caused a lot of waves and attracted a lot of criticism, disappointment, and concern here in Ireland over the last couple of hours today, really. So, can you sum up for us why you've made this decision?
Yes, of course. So just want to also say that like I am a retired athlete now. I got retired. I stepped away from competing for Ireland, which I'm actually extremely grateful and honored that I was able to have that opportunity to represent Ireland, not only one Olympics, but three Olympics, and come away with multiple medals and, be an inspiration to Ireland itself and do everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's like Olympic athletes don't get paid a lot of money. It's like I was on 18,000 euro, and that's below minimum wage for a whole year's worth of and hours and hours and hours. And, still had to, a lot of that money either went to be part of the national squad or pay for a training camp or be, we don't make a lot of money. And I did it for over a decade, and the main reason why was like, all right, I retired. I've done everything I can do. And if I try to go for the next Olympic Games, I'll be 34 years old. Body won't be the same. I'm like, you know what? I need to take a step back and realize what I need to do for my life because I sacrificed a lot, sacrificed my own events in the 2020 Olympic Games, sacrificed my 100 backstroke, which I wanted to do so I can be on that relay for the boys and try to give myself the best, and the guys the best available, to try to place as high as we can in that men's medley relay. And then also not being able to participate in my, what I qualified for, the 50 free at the Paris Olympic Games, and then showing up and then not being able to race those events and had the third fastest split, at the Paris Olympic Games. And if you add my start time, I'm fighting for a final, fighting for a bronze medal at the Olympic Games. But policies are policies. And sadly, with high-end sports, politics come into play, sadly. But, despite all that, I was still able to walk away with my head held high and did my country and my teammates proud. And, now I've retired. And now my main decision is like, first, I want to get my body right, but also make money at the same time. But I've had an opportunity to be part of the enhanced games where I'm also going to be able to get my body right. And now I'm on a great salary and I could be making over six figures. And towards the end of May, I could be making about $600,000 for 9 months of work. And everyone always thinks that we're on drugs all the time. We are not on that at all. We're being fully transparent. That's why it's so new and scary, but we're not cheating in any way because everyone else is going to be on everything. We fully support athletes competing for the Olympic Games to be 100% clean. And I was one of those athletes. Every single one of those athletes that are here have done it. We followed the protocols. We done everything right. And that's something that I will always be a big supporter of. But what we're doing is something completely different. We are retired athletes. We are moving on to something new and something better. But at the same time, like sadly, within sport and especially the Olympics, there are athletes that are cheating, and I don't like that. And you had the 20 Chinese athletes before the Tokyo Olympic Games test positive, and we only found that out right before Paris. And then six of them were still in the Paris Olympic Games. You have the classic example, Sung Yang, tested positive multiple times, won in 2019 at World Championships. And, thank God for Duncan Scott for not stepping up on the podium to, protest against that, which I fully support that as well. Even when the Russians showed up in 2016, we didn't see them for a whole year. And then all of a sudden, people would just show up and they were banned. And now, oh, they're here, they're not, and their ban's gone. So it's just, there's a lot of different reasons. But for me, I've done what I've done. I represent Ireland, extremely grateful, or always will be, for the opportunity that they have given me. But now I'm retired. I'm doing what I want to do to make money to better my life into for the future.
Okay, Shane, the money is one thing, and six figures, as you say, potentially. But what about the risks to your health, which could be very serious? I mean, we've heard many experts today warn that, there can be very serious health consequences up to and including premature death.
Yeah, bit extreme, because that's, where a lot of, people kind of geared towards like bodybuilders and weightlifters. That's where they try to push. They do as much as they can to try to get every little ounce out of it. But what we're doing is stuff that's FDA approved, stuff that you can go to your doctor and get if your testosterone is low or HGH is low. And we're not doing anything crazy because, like, there's a thing called peptides. That thing is not legal at all. It's not FDA approved. And what we're doing is everything we do is going to be, we're going to have multiple doctors. We're getting our bloods done. We're doing everything that we can do to give us more information to be completely safe and transparent. That's what we're going to do. And also, we're only going to take very minute levels, and it's all up to us as an individual athlete and a person to take what we want to take. And we don't even know what we're going to be taking we have the idea on what we're going to be taking, but for each person is going to be a bit different, you know. And I know for myself, my main thing is to first come out with this better body, be safe, and then also have that longevity, you know, in my life and go forward through that as well and participate in possibly one of the greatest shows that we're going to have in May as well, which is a really cool opportunity.
Do you trust these doctors? What do you say to people who would label this as a freak show?
I mean, yeah, it's something new and it's gonna be a little freaky because we're gonna be, you know, really lean, we're gonna be in great shape. But at the end of the day, these drugs aren't gonna make us get into that shape. We still have to work hard. We still have to put the effort in and rehab our bodies, do go to training every single day and put in the work. You know, and that's where a lot of people think, like, yes, we're gonna have full body suits, that's gonna help a little bit. But to go these crazy times to try to break those world records, we still have to put hard work in, you know. And I've been lucky enough to be very close to some of the, you know, I'm swimming the 100 free and 50 back in May. They've introduced all the four strokes, which is really cool. And, you know, if I break the world record, we could be getting up to $1 million on top of that as well, which is unbelievable. So, yes, we are surrounding ourselves with some of the best doctors in the world that have been around this stuff for many, many years. But we are not taking the drugs right now. We're here in Las Vegas from now until December. Then we're going to Abu Dhabi from January to March, where that's where the trial and the case study is going to be done, where we're going to be taking the performance enhancing drugs. And then we're off of it 4 weeks in advance of the swim meet or whenever that is, or whatever did we decide as an athlete, individual, when we decide to stop taking it. And it's more so for the recovery purpose of it, not try to build muscle, because you will build muscle quite quickly. But as you get older, as everyone knows, it gets harder and harder to work out, harder and harder to wake up. So it's about the recovery process of it. And it's just also now about, you know, the finance as well and putting on a good show later down in May too.
So for you, are you saying the risks, the potential risks are worth it for the money, for the payoff?
I think so too. And a lot of people have their own opinions about that. But I know the people and the information that I have, like right now, we have some of the best, like, performance, or not performance, but like, yeah, performance and recovery stuff. And we're not even on anything. Like, I'm getting access 4 hours a week just on like PT physio work, which I would had never had access to that, you know, beforehand. I'm getting my shoulder right, my body right. Plus, we have infrared saunas, we have Normatec boots, we have chambers where we can go in, we have cryotherapy, anything we think we can need for recovery purposes, we have. And I wish every Olympic athlete had access to what we have right now, because we would make the sport so much better. But also, athletes don't get paid a lot to for them to go get paid or pay to have access to those things, which is a, you know, devastation in itself.
What do you say to people though who will say this isn't sport, this is morally and ethically wrong?
It would be if I was competing for the Olympic Games, and I'm not competing for the Olympic Games. I will never go for back. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be in 3 Olympic Games, but I'm retired now, and I'm putting on a show at the end. This is kind of like show business as well, you know, where I'm doing this to, you know, I'm with a great group of friends that I've raced against my whole life, and we're going to put on a fantastic show here in Las Vegas in May. But at the same time, like, there's so many people out there that are doing it by themselves with no doctors, and we're doing it fully transparent. And that's the scary thing. This is something new that hasn't been done before, and people are like freaking out about it. But we're open. I'd rather have a conversation about what we're doing than not. And I think not having the conversation is a scary thing.
A lot of the criticism today focused on the message it sends to young people, to young athletes, to kids starting out in the sport, people who might have looked up to you as a role model.
Of course. Yeah. And look, and I apologize for anybody that has done that, but I have done what I've done in the past, and I still believe in that. I still believe in clean sport and doing everything you want. But this is gear. This is what adults do. This is what a job for me. And it's like, I have a friend who works for Lockheed Martin. You know, that's a kind of controversial job, but it's all about paying the bills. And for me, this is something that, like, I can, you know, go get a physio session and not worry about paying for it because it's covered by enhanced games. Anything we need is covered. We our housing, our food, our medical, everything is covered. So we're being supported in the best way possible to get our bodies right, be healthy, and move on. But for the kids and all that stuff, this is not something for kids. I do not engage. I don't want anybody doing this as a young athlete or anything like that. This is for adults only, and also, and I'm gonna make that very clear. But at the end of the day, clean athletes competing for the Olympic Games is so important, and I think that's where I've stepped away from that, and now I'm doing something completely different, and they should be completely separate.
Some might say, of course, and many will say, no doubt, that it's a big price to pay. But just finally, then, what has been the reaction of your friends and family?
A lot of them are being like, it would be stupid not to do this, that understand the sacrifices that I've been through and the struggles I've been through, through politics within swimming, but also with everything I've sacrificed and given and not being able to, do what I need to do. Like I've been over there in Ireland and lived there for so long, and I've just been very like mentally depressed and gone through a roller coaster of things. But now I have access to first get my body right, make money, and then potentially whenever I get done this, go into something maybe, I gain an opportunity here because even the staff here have years and years of experience. And I'll give you an example. One of our brand managers, he worked for Nike for 25 years. Then he worked for Michael Jordan for another 5 years. And then we also have our head lawyer who worked with the Olympic team, USA Olympic team, who's been to every single Winter and Summer Olympics for the past 20 years. So this is not something thrown around. We have people that are backing us, which is unbelievable. And I'm like, I've been here for a week before my announcement. I'm like finding out all this. I'm like, wow, this is no joke. Like this is big. And that's something that's gaining me confidence. But my friends and family, like, yes, my mom isn't a great big supporter of it because she's more worried about my health. And I am too. That's why I'm giving her the information and going through. But at the end of the day, if I go all the way down and go through this is up to me. This is up to me and my decisions. If I decide at the very end of the day, like, look, I don't want to do it, but I don't have to do it. But at the end of the day, I want to do this so I can try to see how far I can push my body, but in a very safe manner. This is going to be monitored to the actual team. We have a protocol that we have to follow. That's why we're not on anything now until January. So it's definitely scary, but I've talked this through for months because they reached out to me from the very beginning, and I turned it down because I still wanted to represent Ireland as a clean athlete and go through all that. And I had a mission of my own to go as far as I can for Ireland. And I've realized that I'm 31 years old. I need to start doing something, bigger and better. And I'm now doing it with my friends. I have the friends and family support. And that's what really matters to me, and later down the road, I'm going to be financially stable.
Okay, Shane, that's great. We're going to leave it there then. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate